Welcome back everyone to episode 39 of Let's Play Advanced Tactics Gold. I welcome you back a few turns after the previous episode. We've started to make a real push in the south, and I think I'm going to actually push through with it. I've had plenty of opportunities to break, or at least to penetrate their front line, but I think I'm close enough now on this turn, which I'll show you in a second. It's actually time to act. So I'm going to go ahead and try to push through as fast as possible. Now, technically my forces aren't as built up on the front line as they should be if I want like a massive breakthrough. I basically can't undertake either Schwerpunkt or Blitzkrieg to steal from the German tactical doctrines. But we're going to be able to push the front in every direction all at the same time. So I think that's going to be sufficient to hopefully rout the enemy armies. Now, if you can see these numbers, maybe you can't. We'll zoom in a second, but the Germans have really mounted a very strong, stubborn defense around their capital and their last remaining normal city, Bayreuth. So Cologne is their capital. Nonetheless, I think that we will be able to get there before the Russians because, like I said, the Germans have done a very good job defending on their eastern flank. And we should be able to just push through, and I think it's time for us to act because I'm sure we can get to Bayreuth first, but to be honest, Cologne is a different matter. I really have obviously no idea what the strength of the forces is over east of Cologne, northeast. So it's possible that the Russians could just push in. Now, Cologne being the capital, I'm sure the Germans are defending it pretty strongly, so hopefully it'll be able to hold out until I get there, and then we can play the whole the typical game. Every World War II episode ends with the race to Berlin, so we'll have the race to Cologne. Alright, fantastic. In the middle of the map, I have now occupied, what is it, Laval? Yeah, Laval. Is this Laval? Where's Laval at? It should be right there. There it is, Laval. So Laval's up here. I guess it's not in the middle of the map north-south wise, but in this corridor you can see that the water kind of makes the map a little narrower, and it's kind of, I've considered it like the middle point. So this is basically where I want to divide my forces. So it should be yellow, then red, and then below Laval, red should hold Laval, and below Laval it should be green. So I have brown kind of where green should be because brown is really overextended, and then brown should be taking the bottom area. So basically brown and green should be responsible for the main push to the final race to Cologne. But I have actually a lot more forces mounted in the north than I do in the south. So this is a bit of a problem. We're going to have to do a bit of moving around, and that's fine. Probably a lot of it will happen behind the scenes. But since the main push is going to happen, and I want to kind of illustrate again how strong the Germans have actually. I expected the next episode after the previous one to be just already the Russians and I. But the Germans are really putting up a good fight. Also, we have our first exposure. If you can see up here, there's a unit of 100. It's pretty strong. Let me go ahead and zoom in just in case people are watching it not 720 or 1080p or whatever. So we see here that the Russians have brought in, finally, there's still a small pocket of French forces, but it's basically all gone. It's basically all just American and Russian now. But the Russians have actually brought in their first big group to the front. They finally met up with my French capital line, the yellow, the northern headquarters. And it's just very unlucky for them that they're the scouting unit. I'm sure we'll decimate them this turn. We're trying to ignore the French as much as possible. We just use them as kind of like an experience gaining device for our artillery, maybe for our dive bombers if they have no other targets. Okay, so I think that's all I really wanted to say on the overview. I guess we're just scanning north to south here. This little pocket of German forces has actually been extremely resilient. Now, I should say that I can take a little bit of credit for that. I've been keeping all my artillery and dive bombers very active against the Russians, because naturally I already know that the Russians will be my main enemy. So I mainly just kind of dive bomb and use artillery against every Russian unit around this German pocket, which allows it basically provides for their longevity. However, the Russians are beginning to finally overtake the last of the German pocket here, so it's basically just going to be, when do I want to push into this nice open plains with all my tanks? And that being said, I actually need to get some more tanks, so I decided to start building some more, if I get this, some more medium tanks. So let's get some more tank divisions, I've decided. Medium tank divisions, because pretty soon, as soon as I have enough political points for medium tank 3, which is 678, a bit expensive, but I think it's an additional 25% hit points, and it's this 25% versus tanks. Right now, we currently only have the 25% and 25% against infantry. So I think the extra hit points is, I mean, that's obviously helpful in every situation, but probably more importantly, since we're going to be dealing with these hordes of factory-built units, infantry isn't going to be as important probably as getting the extra damage against armor. So says I, at least, and we'll see if I'm correct. Okay, so let's begin the turn. I'm going to turn off hex coloring now because I don't find it too useful when I zoom in. There we go. It's not like it's really difficult to tell which nation owns which border. So, okay. So what do I want to do on this turn? Let's see. Do I start? I guess I'll start in the north just with the really simple task. I'm going to bombard these guys. We should just be smashing them. Just actually totally cleaning the floor. I don't imagine there'll be much left of their bodies. Okay, good. So we did full bombardment, took their readiness down to 12. Killed about a quarter of their units anyway. But that's not enough. Even though we already have a battle stack of 100 for artillery, let's be honest, we don't have a whole lot of targets for artillery up here. So if I do all, it just gets those two guys. Actually, yeah, we might as well just do it. Just do it. This might not even... Okay, yeah, it was pretty productive to do that. Just weakens them up a little bit more so that when we do our attack, which we'll do right now, we'll take the weaker units because those are the ones either with lower morale or lower experience, and we're trying to get those units to be a little bit better. So we'll attack with bolt armor. Move on in. And oh, we actually almost lost a tank, but he's okay. So you can see that the combat strength of this guy was 160 something beforehand, and now he's actually gone up. This one went down just because one of the tanks took a readiness hit. So, and the tanks are so much a part of the combat value that decreased it. So we might as well do the second attack, which is usually the one that eliminates them, and did. But I don't need to move actually into that area, because then I can't, or can I move back? If I move forward, actually it is 20, so I could move forward and then move back. Yeah, okay. Oh, no, I can't, because this is enemy territory. Okay, well, since I've committed one, I'll leave this one here just to secure the supply line, but we'll back him up on the next turn. In fact, I probably want to defend from this hex anyway. I don't want to give them the forced advantage. So what I'm going to do is move a tank into there. Let's move some supporting infantry. And now let's just shift up with my anti-tank. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background, but I have some World War II airplanes flying above my place right now, so it's kind of interesting, but a little bit loud and annoying when you're trying to record. Very appropriate for the video though, so I guess I should be excited. Okay, so that's good. We see that the Russians don't really have much over here. I'm just waiting for them to come, but really, the honest truth is they're not in any hurry because, I mean, I don't think that they play it this way. I don't think the AI considers strategic objectives in their movement patterns very much. But if they do, there's no strategic objectives for them in this near area. So it makes sense that they don't really have an interest in moving forward. Okay, let's see. That's why we should be shifting some of our units south, because we have such a strong group of yellow here that really we probably would be better served moving some of these guys, excuse me, into other positions. So for example, we can probably get this guy to just conquer this forested hex. It's in red, so we want it to be in the south anyway. Okay, that's fine. Just leave him there. And we'll probably move this guy forward. Yeah, look at that. We can actually probably do some, I don't know, artillery bombardment maybe even? I don't know. But we'll do some attacks. Let's see. I think this artillery is good here because they're kind of protecting our factory, which is exposed, but has pretty good protection now that we have a medium tank there. It's probably where I want that medium tank to stay for the time being. We did get another one. So this one is fully loaded, just a little bit low on readiness because it was just constructed. Send him north. Let's get him on there. Alright. We're trying to actually shift some units south, so I'm going to move this guy here. Just going to clutter this hex, but I actually want this one to eventually be probably brown. No, I think this one's going to be green actually, because this guy is going to be brown, because he gets to move a little further south. I'm just going to switch their headquarters over now, so that by the time they get down to the appropriate front, they should be back up to full readiness. Looks like we have another infantry here, which probably doesn't need to be yellow. Because yellow's... I mean, we even have this reserve force for yellow. Let's move that guy up. I'm not sure if he'll be yellow or red or what he'll be in the end, but red is red a little bit low on staff? Nope, they're at 105. I just upgraded that previous turn. That's right. Okay, so what do we have going on here? Basically, our pick of the litter, which ones to attack. I only want to attack one because moving into plains or fields is 20, plus zone of control, plus 8 of the extra action points for enemy territory is 40. So with 40, I can get back 10 and then 20 back to this hex, which is where I want to defend from. In fact, we probably should move this guy just to support that hex a little better. Yeah, that's a very strong... That cannot be taken from the north. Just impossible, I would say, from any combination of units, unless they controlled all 3 hexes. But they can't attack with armor from here, and they can attack from armor maybe from here, but we have 1 anti-tank, so yeah, that's a really solid defensive point. And then we'll hold this one with our medium tank as soon as he's done fooling around over here. Yeah, let's keep... I think this guy's going to end up being green or... Yeah, probably even brown. Brown's going to need a lot of forces for assaulting the German capital, so... Yeah. And actually, we have 2 dive bombers here, so we have 3 dive bombers here, which is where those belong. But we'll probably want to attack with these guys first, because they'll lose their readiness the moment we actually, move the new dive bombers in. Okay, well, quite a massive unit here. I think this one's going to receive both artillery and dive bombing. Yeah, so this is the German front. They have this I don't know where they got this army from. It just appeared from nowhere. I feel like it was just like rising up out of the marshes. Crazy, but congrats to them. Very good job mustering this amount of forces, and it's going to be a bit more challenging, which is fun. How do we want to do this? Probably we have 2 new artillery units here, and I think we'll use those against this extremely potent... It looks like there's a lot of infantry here, over 80. So I'm not going to say all because I'll get those guys as well, but let me get these guys involved, just those guys. Let's attack. Good. I think that probably the more important thing is how's their readiness. Yeah, lowered by 2/3. Entrenchments drop down to almost nothing. Which makes sense because usually you don't lower the readiness of the armored cars so much. So although the readiness overall drops less, there's no entrenchment of armored cars, so you're better off. Okay, let's see. Still don't know how I'm going to attack this, or do I attack this? Probably I don't, actually. I just move this anti-tank into defend. I think we're going to want to take a swipe at this guy, though. Okay, well, one thing is I have a stacking penalty here, because cities can only hold 10, and my new headquarters has now gotten 2 new dive bombers. I guess they sent 2 over to this guy, so that he could resupply this guy. Anyway, let's get an airfield. Because remember, I was always targeting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this hex for my airfield. That was at the time that I thought dive bombers could only attack from a distance of 5, and I'm not sure when or why I got that idea. I mean, technically, it's pretty obvious why I got that idea. If you do air crew recon mission... Okay, that's not a good example. No, that is a good example. Oh, okay, it's covered in these hexes. Okay. If you do this, you can see that they have a range of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you can't see it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see the little orange and the splitting the 3 units there. And if I didn't have these units blocking the graphic, you'd be able to see it. So this was what I presumed to be the range of the dive bombing attack, because that is what that symbol appears to be. But in fact, it seems like they can get as far as they want over anywhere in their recon radius. They can actually dive bomb, which is a surprise to me, but fair enough. As long as everyone's playing by the same rules, I'm comfortable. So we want to do, what do we want to do? We want to move this guy forward. This is the first turn, by the way, that the bridge did not get destroyed, and it's only because I pushed this far. So I have a toehold in the forest, which is very important, because that's where my machine gunners, I know that they would be able to defend well. The even more important thing is I finally exposed their very vulnerable artillery units, which have just been pounding the crap out of me. I mean, sincerely, they've been doing all the casualties, maybe for the last year, 12 turns or so, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, I'm trying to give an accurate description here. In maybe the last 12 turns, I would say 80% of my casualties have been from artillery by the Germans. That's how significant that these artillery have been. My attacks usually go overwhelmingly in my favor, but the artillery, there's no defense against it, so. So we finally get to meet up with them, and it's just payback. It's time for payback. Okay, so we move this engineer forward again, builds the road, and now I think that that's far enough for our supply lines to extend. Let's see, we have 29 here, 39, 49. It's all good. I don't think we're going to move any further than here, so that should be enough for all of our supply, which means that he's going to spend the rest of his turn building an airbase. And that means that we can just push these units forward right away. So it's going to get a little crowded here, unfortunately, but I know I want to move these machine guys forward. Let's move this guy here. Okay, and then the 104 here. Actually, I want this guy here because he'll probably attack up there with the tank. I'm just guessing. These guys will probably be responsible for breaking this unit, but obviously I'm going to need to bombard first. So good thing we built the road. I'm going to move my artillery forward. 1, 2. He has 6 rounds of bombardment. We know where that's going. Actually, do we? There's something to be said about bombarding this unit because we do want to attack that unit this turn. No. I'm just going to rely on the superior strength of my submachine guns in the forest to try to overtake this hex. All I think we need for this one is just a dive bombing run to soften up their armored cars. Because infantry guns are terrible against infantry on the defense. They're 1/4 their original combat strength. So they're really not that important unless they're attacking. Yeah, so we'll just try to soften these guys up with dive bombers, because if it was just 7 rifles, well, 7 rifles are not going to stand up to 38, 76 submachine guns, so. Okay, let's move these guys forward so that they avoid their penalty. And actually, we can even get the new unit here. Let's get the new dive bomber unit. It only has 2, but you gotta start somewhere. And eventually that 4 will keep ticking over, so next turn this one will have 5 and we'll have 1 left over, which means in 2 more turns, the 1 left over will get 4 more, and it'll be a full unit. But I don't think I'm going to quickly stop building dive bombers. Even though our oil situation is actually decreasing over time, I think this series will end before we really run into oil issues, and technically we're on the cusp of grabbing another oil supply. Is there any others I was neglecting? No, but I don't think we'll make it all the way over to Lorient. That would be wonderful and challenging too with all these suburban landscapes, but yeah, I don't think we're going to make it that far in this video. So, okay, so 20 minutes in, let's get this show on the road, right? I'm going to do the attack here with my medium armor, and we can see how quickly they dispatch armor, as in they don't. That was a terrible example, but normally they do it a lot better. Unfortunately, he just retreated. And my only options here is to move here. It does threaten me getting cut off, however, I'm going to do it anyway. Because I want to keep pushing So now it's basically forget about this unit in the past. He's just whatever. Just ignore his existence. If he moves here, that's fine. We'll have to deal with him, but probably he can just be dealt with dive bombers. The more important thing is to get this armor in position to take the road to Bayreuth. So we want to secure this before like a clump of infantry such as this has an opportunity to react. If these guys can get down to the oil next turn, then I'm going to have a real problem. If we only have to push through, which is probably one soft infantry or maybe even like a headquarters or staff unit, then we're in good shape. This does presume, of course, that I can get by this guy, which like I said, I'm going to need to dive bomb him. Let's bring out the big guns, so I'm going to grab my 175 for this. It is important that we take this hex, so that was not as good as I was hoping. Wow, what did we do? One infantry con and one truck retreated? That's... Their armor cars didn't take any damage. I think, unfortunately, that means we're going to have to attack it again. Wait. Question, can you get here? Answer... No. Because this 3 and this 2 are going to make the perfect combination with another 5 for a perfect battle stack of 10 air. I was thinking I could do that here, but obviously we can't. Unfortunately, we might just have to throw another... I don't want to. Yeah, well, let's use the artillery here. Let's just commit to that. Because this is definitely a hex we want to be eliminated. This is so much artillery, which has just been ruining our day over and over and over again. And we know we can attack them with infantry, which is going to be very good against everything except for the 4 armored cars. So with 2 dive bombing attacks, I think we'll be okay. And this is only 3 artillery and an infantry gun, so although it says it's a pretty strong hex, that's not exactly true. Combat strength of 74 is basically inflated by these 2 heavy artillery. That's not that strong though. I think we don't need... We probably can get away with even just 1 dive bomber unit on this. Maybe. Which means that... Can this guy attack here? Okay, this is where we're going to do it. So these guys are... Oh, he can't attack though. So we'll have to use these guys somewhere else. That's fine. We probably should stop trying to be so silly about this. Okay, so let's do this. Let's dive bomb with this guy. We just... Okay, that's what I wanted. That's perfect. That was very important. Although it didn't... Okay, yeah, we can see the combat strength just plummeted. The main thing was here to get the armored car weakened. Because my machine gun guys, they're not that great against anti-tank. And my submachine guns aren't that great, but my machine guns are terrible. Especially on the attack. No, actually, they're equally terrible on the attack and defense. Anyway, let's do it. I think I'm going to attack with this guy who has 100 action points. I might be able to cut off the road, which would be really nice. Okay. Excuse me. And here we go. Yeah, we're good. We're taking a few casualties, but we pushed in. Good. So only 4 casualties. That's a very acceptable number for taking very strategically valuable location. I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, they did retreat. And only 1 of my units can attack. I think we have to push on, though. I really do. It's such a valuable hex to get. Come on, come on, come on. Oh my gosh. Well, that's incredible, because our submachine guns do still get a bonus. Needless to say, I was not expecting that result. That caught me completely by surprise. So this unit has just been devastated. That was a poor commander's call in the end, but I think it was the right decision, just the wrong result. Okay, well, let's just take our revenge elsewhere then. I think we just call on both of these guys on this hex. It's that important. Because they do have armored cars here we need to get rid of. Well, that was not as good as I was hoping. We did cause 4 of the 5 to retreat, so that is good. Okay, that's probably enough. Because we do have an anti-tank unit. Excuse me, a frog in my throat. Yeah, they do have more units than I thought. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. We have to attack. So let's just hope our anti-tank gun is up to the task. Wow. I'm not very good at predicting the outcomes, am I? That was just a slaughter. Which is confusing. I did not expect that. Probably move both those guys in. We see their headquarters. And these guys are weak for a follow-up bombardment, but I think all that bombardment has to go to the unit that is still capable of attacking us, so. We have anti-tank here, which is going to prevent this. Let's get this machine gun shifting. So we'll probably go... Huh. We could make a new ranger unit, which I thought I would avoid doing that for the rest of the game, basically, because we need anti-tank more than anything now. Actually, we could make a new anti-tank unit, and that makes more sense. We also probably need to advance our headquarters down south a little more. These guys are overextending. That's the reason why these guys should be part of green, because green's, well, as soon as we get this dive bomber to do something, this one's already been attacked, so let's get these guys to attack here. And we'll pair them, I guess, with the really strong dive bomber here. Okay, that makes sense to me. The reason why I'm grabbing this guy is because I think this guy will be able to hit something further south. We might want him to dive bomb, I don't know, this, for example? I don't know. So let's attack with all that. Just decimate this hex. Wow. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Just the perfect amount of destruction. Because you don't want them to kill them too fast, because then they come back like a few action points remaining. And then those are wasted because there's not enough. Do I have an example? Like, this guy has 5 action points. He can't do anything with that. So, I mean, that's fine, because that's just a product of him moving and having a 5 in his movement, like a 35 or a 45, whatever it was. But you don't want them left over after a bombardment with like 10 or 20 AP, because they're not going to be able to hit any targets, because no targets are 2 hexes away from my airport, except for maybe here. But both these guys only have 5, so they can't hit anything. Alright. Well... Ah, man, I was really hoping that this guy could move here and attack here. I don't understand why he can't, in fact. Oh, because this is forest and this is plains. I don't really want to attack this unit. I'm just going to leave our machine guns here to defend. What am I trying to do here? I wanted to shift people... I think I'm going to let my submachine guns defend in the open. Obviously not ideal. But I doubt they'll be attacked by this unit. So now the 100 can get over here. That's good. Even though it's also in the... It's also in the mountains, which isn't good. They'll be able to attack into the forest next turn, which is good. Okay, you guys can't do anything, can you? No, you're just... But you're holding a very key location. The road into the mountains. Just making sure all our supplies good. It is. That's what I expected with this engineer getting the road. So disappointed about that. I'm still disappointed. Okay, well, moving on. I don't think we're going to end up attacking this unit. We're better on the defensive than we are on the attack. I mean, that's actually true. That's true of their... So that's not true of their armored cars. They're actually better on the attack than the defense. But my anti-tank guns are way better on the defense than the attack, so it's not worth it. The ratio is much better for defending with AT guns than attacking with armored cars. So we prefer not to attack. Also, just infantry are much better on the defense, of course. So I guess the only thing left to do... Oh, we need to punish this. Let's just see who's available. This guy, who we were definitely hoping he'd be available. And also the other guy in Laval. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's just start one at a time. So let's get this guy not to do it, not to be used. Because this hex has already got 100 air, yeah. I mean, this is a pretty... Actually, we're okay, because this guy's in the hills, so he's well entrenched, including our AT guns. He'd be attacking into the hills with a 50% penalty for his armored cars. And our guys are going to defend, so we're not worried about that, actually. So let's stick to the original plan and bring our dive bombers against their artillery. That's a pretty weak hex. I think this might not be... We might not need the other dive bombers. Let's see what kind of damage we did. The readiness is down to 15. Does that mean they're going to... I mean, technically that means they do have a small amount of bombardment they could do. But, I mean, would they? It's tough to say. Is it are those units... Basically, is the dive bomber better spent here? Can I get there? This would just devastate these forces. But there's only 5 units that my dive bombers are good at killing there. There's only 5 here, though. Okay, let's do it. Let's dive bomb here. I was expecting everyone to die, but okay, well, almost. Nonetheless, this unit's going to be immobile, because it probably won't have enough strength, or action points, what I'm trying to say, to cross the river. And we'll just have to hard attack this guy next turn, which is fine. My infantry can go in there, no sweat. I would have liked to have captured this hex. That's what I was thinking. What's the supply like here? 61. This is 44 though, so this one would have been like 94, just enough. Because it's nice to be able to occupy the high ground, basically, and look around, and it slows down all the enemy movement in this area. Like anybody moving here would be slowed down, whereas that's currently a free hex. I mean, as far as enemy zone of control goes. But in order to get to that, I'd have to shift these guys south. Kind of puts a hole in my lines if I do it this way. Maybe we'll do it anyway, though. So shift this guy here. And this guy in here. Good, he's supplied. Yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. Because we're really pinching their line. And that's another direction I can attack this unit from. Alright, let's get over here then. Let's see. We probably want to do bombardment. I think we'll do just one guy. Because it's a lot of armored cars, so we'll probably bring in dive bombers. Okay, yeah. Anybody available? No, there's no dive bombers available. Okay, that's fine. I think we'll spread the love with my other artillery. So attack this guy. Click 3. Good, so that means he can attack this guy. Good, you got 2 hexes in. That's fantastic. Just did a little bit of damage to each. I wish we had a dive bomber capable of attacking this unit, but we don't. That's okay. None of our tanks can attack that unit, though. That's the reason why I'm a little sad. Alright, that's a good defensive position for our anti-tank and our... basically, everything should come down to, at this point, no longer infantry, just anti-tank and tank. Just because of the factory play, we have to switch our strategy. And although it doesn't feel as immersive, it's fine. It's just a different set of rules to the game, right? Alright, where do we want to attack down here? Okay, well, let's just first push out here. With these 2 guys, just to ruffle their feathers, get some kills. The infantry, killing infantry is still important. It's not something they can rebuild. Okay, so we can do one more attack. I think we attack... Ooh, AT gun. Ooh, maybe we don't attack that. What we could do is attack this unit and then just cut it off. That would just mean that hopefully this guy doesn't get supply. And then he's more interested in retreating from what is otherwise pretty good defensive location. So let's do that. Let's attack this one. I mean, I would like to attack this, but the AT gun, it scares me a little bit. And we eliminated that unit. That's good. Now we just retreat back into the hills, hit and run. In fact, we have this artillery left over. Oh, that one can bombard something more interesting though. I think we'll still use one artillery against this guy because I really don't like the Russians just hiding in the hills there. And we're doing nothing. We did like nothing. Okay, fine. But the other one we're going to use here, just to kind of soften that target up. And I think that was a good decision because there's a lot of infantry there. We even got 2 retreats by armored cars. Good. Alright, technically if we wanted to, it would be a bit ambitious. We could push this guy into the next mountain, but I don't think it's necessary. Will we regret it if we don't? It's going to require a shift of forces if we want to do that. We'd have to shift this guy here, this guy to here. Sorry, can he get there? He can. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay to do it, actually. Because this is obviously pretty valuable territory. And for some reason, I mean, just by a miracle, it's just barely in supply. 95. We don't want to give an open hex, even though our armor would just decimate anybody who crossed that. Maybe I should, actually. It might be better to invite him into our soft underbelly, because he's not going to be able to attack low mountains after that. And it's completely acceptable if he attacks anti-tank guns after that. And we'll be able to mop him up with my armor if he does try to come in. But I think because of the bombardment, he's actually not going to have the action points necessary. And if he's smart, he won't move this way. He'll move backwards to, re-establish supply. Okay, I think that's everything in the south. No attacks. So the last thing we're going to do is just a whole bunch of land bombardment. Let's see. So we need to support the artillery if they move out, which I think do want them to do. So let's just move here, which is not a bad location for us to secure anyway. And now let's just bombard these guys. Whoa, we can already bombard them from the ones in the city, but no, we don't want that, just these guys. Sorry, take another drink. Well, their readiness is, yeah, it's non-existent now. These guys even have a little bit of artillery capability left, so let's actually get them to just re-attack. Almost. I mean, we're just so close to directly eliminating that unit. Another bombardment might, well, at diminishing returns because of the battle stack, so let's just leave it. We might be able to finish off with some dive bombers. Now, the dive bombers we want to use first are, how far can these guys go? What's their radius? All the way down here. Oh, here even. Okay, that's interesting. Let's do some land bombardment. I'm going to use the lowest combat value first. Hopefully they'll be able to pick up some easy kills here. Just get some experience. Oh boy, wow, that's a lot. So I think they went up from 153 to 163 with that experience. Exactly what I was hoping. And we left this unit just basically dead in the water. These two isolated units. They're both in trouble. Okay, so now we can attack. Should be able to get this guy as well with these yellow dudes. I'm going to use a... Well, I guess I'll just keep going in order. No, let's... Oh, what? Okay, you can get here. This is one hex too far. Well, the good news is we can get these guys, so let's just go after... This guy with a 184 should be enough. Yep, that was enough. But you notice the 184 still has 4 action points left. Basically, I mean 4 movement hexes left. We can't really do anything with that. So we could maybe just bombard this guy, I guess. Just to pick up a little bit of extra experience. The 10 readiness, 8 infantry isn't going to mount isn't going to pose any problem for the Russians anyway. So it might be better for me just be getting experience than just trying to use them to slow down the Russians. Okay, so we don't know what this unit is. The 190 is going to be enough to kill it, though. God, okay, now that sucks because we didn't actually kill them. Which means that if we want, we have to send... this guy doesn't have the radius. This is what I'm talking about. He doesn't have the radius to hit anything. It means if we do want to kill this guy, we have to actually send... just to kill one staff. This is a tough call. Well, which one are we more likely to kill? The one staff or the 3 rifles? They're both at 0 readiness. Well, this guy's actually at 1 readiness, so... higher experience, which I think helps. I'm trying to decide which one the tank should attack versus which one. Okay, let's have the tank attack this guy because I think it's more likely he'll kill that one. Yeah. Which means this guy, even if he lives, he's kind of stuck, so we're not too worried about that. There it is. Get the other yellow. And they killed it. Perfect. So we took all that territory. This guy still has enough movement points to get back exactly where I want him to return to. Good stuff. Let's move our artillery into that hex just to, shore up that area. And I guess what it looks like we're going to hold this line, so I'll move my anti-tank and my medium armor into that hex. Probably I need to do this instead and then shift the 17th back over here. That's okay. That's good. Good, and our lines are really starting to form well. So I have my 2 red dive bombers in Rouen, and I have 4 yellow dive bombers in Orléans. It's good. We have our engineered backup here for extending the roads wherever we need it to extend. So this guy can transfer his dive bombers in now. Oh, this one. I'm just doing that because you can't move your headquarters when the dive bombers are here unless you're moving into an area with an airport, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to move here. Which presents, it makes me a target for the front, but I'm not too worried about that. I'll do 1 round of bombardment on this hex just to kind of discourage them from attacking us. It would be kind of suicidal for them to do attack 2 light armor, though. And these light armor are pretty experienced. Yeah, we even have an infantry unit here, so... I mean, that battle stack might actually be hurting us in the end, but... we would come out victorious, I'm sure. Okay, well... that's all of our yellow dudes, right? 30 and 30 left, but that's fine. So where can the red guys get to? Yeah, these guys can get to this hex. No, they can't. They can only get to this hex. So we'll just have them bombard here. We'll take the stronger unit, I guess, for this one. And now you can see why the Germans have survived so long, because we keep blowing apart any and all opposition. I think what we can do is actually bombard this one with the 2 artillery in Laval. So we don't need to bring our dive bombers here. In fact, we can do a follow-up bombardment. And, they got away. 1 unit. Oh well, that's fine. And then we'll do the last dive bombing mission here. And he retreated. Seems like if they don't get killed in the initial attack, they do retreat. Which kind of makes sense, if you're under assault, then you make it past the first initial wave, you're probably like, okay, let's get the hell out of here. Alright, submachine guns are probably needed more in the south, where I'm fighting in the forest down there, so let's send that guy that way and change him to Brown. Brown is at 130% staff, so that's fine. This guy's at 152, so he's, got plenty. 113, and I missed the red. 106. Good. So we're looking good in all aspects. Okay, well, a 45-minute episode. That's a bit long, but I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. So basically, we're just going to push slowly towards the front, and I think I'll actually bring back for the next episode. I think I might do back-to-back recordings. So what we can do is actually let's just see what they do. What's another 2 minutes on a 45-minute episode, right? let's see what's been going on the off turn. So a lot of bombardment. See, I took one loss there, a horse, unfortunately. But that AT is going to stay there anyway. It's probably all the Russians are going to do. I don't think I didn't move units around because, yeah, it's boring, takes more time. I'll just do it off camera. Okay, bombardment. Oh, wow, they're really attacking that raw. A lot of attacks between the Russians and Germans, but not as many attacks. Oh, they're still bombarding me, but I didn't lose anybody, probably because they had low readiness. So we weren't able to get that many action turns in, our artillery bombardment rounds. They did attack, and we held. Woof. An excellent turn. I haven't had only one loss for probably about 8 turns. So this is fantastic. Okay, you can see that our fuel is slowly diminishing. We're at 60,000 at the beginning of the turn now. Let's take a look at what we are going to do for the next episode. Yeah, well, obviously we're going to assault this as open plains. Excuse me. That's a juicy target. We can secure the road, but they have, unfortunately, looks like built up quite a number of units here. Although, we do have dive bombers very close by. And this guy is an idiot and decided to go behind enemy lines. We don't care. Maybe we'll just, I don't know, get some kind of unit to shift over. They pulled out with a lot of their forces here, which makes sense because we're threatening to cut them off. And I didn't want to fight those battles anyway, so it works out for us as well. This is a massive death stack. We'll probably... They do have AT guns now, which is scary, but we'll probably just bombard this dive bomb. Actually, excuse me, if we attack this hex, which we certainly can, we can move our artillery in here and actually bombard their gun factory, which would be nice. And it might be time to shift this artillery forward here. Kind of keep pushing the front forward. And these guys might need to jump the river at this point, or the stream. Okay, again, the Germans they keep living. They live forever. They never die because I keep killing the Russians who come near them. We're like their guardian angels. And no response from the Russians in the north. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Probably the last one will be the finale of the series, so it'll probably be another long episode. After that, we'll just jump right into the multiplayer series, which is ready to go, and I might even launch the teaser trailer before this series finishes. But don't worry about it, this series is definitely going to finish. And I might even push on to 41 or 42 videos if things are really juicy, because this is still quite a good fight. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.